Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa. It's almost 20,000 feet high. I am Christy Howard. I have epilepsy, and I decided to climb it.
Talk to us about where we are right now.
We're in my happy place. We're in my log cabin, our home, and this is where our dreams and we talk about things, and I want y'all to come in and hear our story. My husband used to say that when our girls were little, even now, if they don't have scraped knees, that means they're not doing anything. And they're not loving life and having fun. And sometimes it takes scraped knees. It takes something hard to make something joyful. When I was a kid, I loved to ride bikes, I loved to swim, I loved to water ski, and all that started early. I was kind of a tomboy. The first time when I had a seizure, I was 16, and we didn't know what happened. My parents heard something, came into my room, and I was on the floor. Had no idea why. That happened twice. We went to the neurologist. They said that I had epilepsy. I was like, okay, that's fine. They described kind of what life might be like, and they prescribed some medicine for me to hopefully stop the seizures. And so I was all good. But I had just turned 16, and the neurologist said, you can't drive. And that broke me. My brain waves are crazy, and they act up more when I'm sleeping. I lose all control of all my muscles, and in my face, arms, legs, everything. So my seizures are very violent.
You okay?
I mean, sometimes it's kind of like I'm like used to it, but there's some times where it's like I just don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I mean, I've woken up 3 in the morning with like ambulances and fire trucks in our yard, not having a single clue what was going on, but knowing that was about Mom. So it's scary.
James. James. He's a very passionate, energetic man, and you know, I knew I loved being outdoors, but oh my goodness, some of the things that he did. You know, he loved to jump out of planes, and he loved to go. He went snow skiing one time. I thought he could start at Black Diamond level, and he finally just had to roll down on his rear end. But he scuba dives. So, and he loves to travel, and I'm so glad. But he's just James.
When I mentioned it to her, I think she looked at me like I was crazy, but I wanted it to be like, I didn't pressure her at all, but it was something because she loves hiking, she loves being out in nature. And I think the thought for both of us to climb one of the most prominent mountains on this planet was going to be a task. But when she thought more about how she can make a difference, telling people about her story, that's when she was like, I want to do this. Okay, we got Cole, we got Taylor, we got Crystal, we got Scott, we got Christy, Christy's climb, we got Lucy, we've got Julie, we got Judd, we've got Garrick, and we've got LaShawn. What is this called right now, Scott?
Embracing the sun.
All right, hike on.
They're family. I mean, they are our family. They will always be our family. And one thing that's really cool about that, some of us didn't know each other. I barely knew one family that went with us. And by the time we left, to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, we are a family. And we had to learn how to not be embarrassed if we had to pee behind a rock. And they were so important to getting me to do this.
When we decided to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you know, especially once we like bought the airline tickets and we got the team together, there were these moments of doubt where I was thinking, what have I gotten my wife into? And she was 110% for this. There were moments where, especially during that 1 year of training before we even, you know, started climbing, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is all going to play out. You know, she had multiple seizures on camping trips, and obviously multiple seizures, you know, during that year. But I was worried about cluster seizures. Also, I was worried about just her falling, just in general, just her falling, and not necessarily off the mountain, but just falling, hitting her head. And the more we climb Lookout Mountain, the more we climb, you know, trails in the Great Smoky Mountains, she was like, well, let's do it.
When I first saw Mount Kilimanjaro, when we were in Tanzania riding in a bus, and I looked up and I saw this mountain, it was like, oh my gosh, am I really going to be on that thing? And so there are some doubts. But then again, with my team, we were all probably thinking the same thing, but we all were going to do it. Day one, we climbed half the day, and it was like we were going through a rainforest, and saw monkeys, saw all these different animals, but we were going up. I mean, I knew we were going up. But when we were through on day one, I was feeling very satisfied. Like, yeah, this is good. If it's like this the whole way, it's great. I took a big hill, but I was spoiled. I had a lot of people looking out for me. No seizures last night. We are thanking God for that.
One of the most challenging days, I think, for Christy and for me and for the entire team was a section of Mount Kilimanjaro called Bronco Wall. And I remember I had gotten out of my tent and I looked up and I saw Bronco Wall. Well, I saw these ants. They looked like ants, and they were our porters taking our tents and our gear and our cooking supplies up this wall. And I made the comment, I said, I'm so glad we're not going up there. And somebody looked at me and said, no, we're going that way. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's a cliff, but without ropes. And it was so scary. I was so glad when I got to the top. I just like laid down on the ground, but I did it. But that was exciting and terrifying. I was so far up in altitude, and it's like my drugs were taking over, and it was just, I was kind of out of it.
That was really, really challenging getting down off those rocks. How you feeling?
Extremely tired, extremely weak. And I have some very good friends here. And I have your back behind me the whole way.
We were like day 4, maybe day 5 into our trip, and Christy was really getting strange in the head. You know, I was associating everything with the altitude and all the medicines that she had to take. About 2 years before the climb, I would literally have nightmares thinking about these clutch seizures and what happens when you have clutch seizures. She'll have a seizure, and then 30 minutes later she has another seizure, and then 15 minutes later she has another seizure, and then they get closer and closer together. And that is when you go into emergency mode. That's when you call 911. And here we are, we're hundreds of miles away from the nearest medical facility, and the helicopter could be hours away. And anyway, I just kept thinking to myself, we're gonna have to call a helicopter over this. She's getting worse as we get closer to the top of this mountain.
Like when she does have seizures, we are so like used to it that sometimes we don't think about it. But then other times it's like, no, this is serious, especially when they're like very long or we're somewhere that isn't home. So like traveling is always a little more scarier than, you know, if something happens here.
I'm ready to get this day going, but I have to be honest. This so far is the hardest day to get up, get dressed, and start. So keep us in your prayers.
For people who are going through any kind of rough time, their scraped knees, that's their scraped knees, and we don't need to try to do anything or go through anything by ourselves. We can't. We're not made for that. So by doing this, by wanting to climb to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, I wanted to say to everybody, you gotta live. You gotta get out of this. You gotta have people who care for you, who love you. And you've gotta find a way to continue on.
Hey, day 6. It is absolutely beautiful weather. I am enjoying this hike. It's just like a 4-day hike. We rest, we eat lunch, we rest, we get ready for the climb. Kind of scared of it, but I'm so excited. So we start that tonight around 11, 12 o'clock. And I cannot wait. I had dreamt for 2 years of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's all I could think of. That's all I could focus on.
So that afternoon, the lead guide pulled me aside and said they didn't feel like it was safe for Christy to summit.
We've done so much, and I think this is it. Because it's going to be extra challenging for you. I don't think it will be very smart.
You'll need a Kleenex. I did not summit. We were at the highest camp, and the nurse, he came up to me and he said, your body can't take anymore. And I just broke. I just broke. I went into the tent and I just bawled.
She's amazing how far she went up that mountain. I mean, she conquered that mountain.
You know, we talk about, live your life, what's your Kilimanjaro? We talk about scraped knees, your scraped knee being your head. You got a titanium device in your brain that controls your brain waves. You take 39,000 milligrams of meds a week for you to be seizure free. This morning, you couldn't even stand up straight. And you've conquered. And so the thing is, this whole journey is for people with challenges, whether it be epilepsy, breast cancer, divorce. It may be, you're inspiring people to get out of bed. That may be their challenge.
So I started it out. I decided to 2 years before. And I did what I could, and I got to the bottom of Mount Kilimanjaro. So I started it. I didn't give up on that. I didn't know exactly what was going to happen from the starting line on, And it was hard. I know what I wanted, what my goal was, but sometimes what our goal is not what's going to happen, and it's not what's meant to happen. So for me, I did not fail.
One of my favorite quotes is from Helen Keller, and we can all say that her scraped knees were being blind and deaf. She once said, "Keep your face to the sunshine, and you cannot see the shadows. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. And life is either a daring adventure or nothing." Stop staring at the summit. Live your life, no matter what your scraped knee is.